This video will demonstrate how to report interpreter data in iStar Plus. Each school district will report interpreter data in iStar Plus. The deadline to enter this data is June 30th. To report interpreter data, click Data Collection, then Interpreter Data. Select the resident district to begin reporting data for your district. If you are a standalone district reporting your own data, you will only see your district in the drop-down. If you are a co-op managing data for multiple districts in your jurisdiction, you will see all of your districts in the drop-down. Once the district is selected, click the plus sign to add an entry. Select the resident school that performed the IEP meeting, then select the requested language. The first section requires data regarding the requests for interpreters during the school year. The first box asks for the number of requests for an interpreter, previously requested interpretation services, or otherwise indicated that an interpreter was necessary to ensure meaningful parental involvement in the IEP meeting. Moving down, report the number of requests where a qualified interpreter was provided at the IEP meeting. Next, enter the number of requests from the parent that the interpreter serve no other role in the IEP meeting. Then, enter the number of requests granted by the district for the interpreter to serve no other role in the IEP meeting. The second portion of this data requirement is for translations of the conference recommendations form. First, enter the number of translations requested, previously requested translation services, or otherwise indicated translation was necessary. Next, enter the number of translations that were provided. Moving down, enter the number of translations that were provided at the time of the IEP meeting. Then, enter the average school days taken to provide translation. To calculate the average, add up the number of days for each student between the IEP meeting and when the translated form was provided and divide by the total number of students that required a translation. The third portion of this data collection is for translations for the IEP forms. First, enter the number of translations requested, previously requested translation services, or times otherwise indicated translation was necessary. Next, enter the number of times the translated form was provided. Moving down, enter the number of times that the translated form was provided within 30 days of the IEP meeting. All percentages will calculate automatically in iStar based on the data entered. Lastly, enter the average number of school days between the IEP meeting and when the translated form was provided. To calculate the average, add up the number of days for each student between the IEP meeting and when the translated form was provided and divide by the total number of students that required a translation. Click Save to close the form. To edit the data at a later time, click the pencil icon. Once you are done reporting interpreter data for the school year, toggle the Done Reporting switch to Yes, then click Save. Once the toggle is switched to Yes, all remaining schools in the district or districts will autofill with zeros. If no interpreters or translations were requested in your district or districts, simply check the yellow check mark to indicate completion. Clicking Confirm will report zeros for all the schools in the district or districts selected. As mentioned previously, this data is due June 30th. For additional support, Contact Harrisburg Project by phone at 800-635-5274, or you can email us at support@hbug.k12.il.us.